This is ACAAN by Tejinaya Japan and Syouma Magic, a version of the very popular AnyCard at any number plot. And today I'm doing an unbiased Magic review of the product. Just a quick disclaimer, if you're here looking for a very great ACAAN to add to your repertoire and pay your hard-earned money for, you should probably click off. Does this version of one of Magic's greatest plots live up to its predecessors? Get your popcorn, because oh boy, we have a lot to talk about today. Let's begin with a quick performance of this effect. I have two decks of cards. To begin with, I'm going to take this deck of cards out. Pretty cool red deck. And here's what we're going to do. Name any card. I'd ask my spectator. Let's say they say 4 of clubs. I'd say, would it be impressive if the 4 of clubs was printed on this card? They'd say, yes, that'd be very impressive. And I show it's all 52 cards on that card. The 52 on one gag. And then I say, you said the 4 of clubs, right? Now name a number from 1 to 52. Let's say they say 13. And then I say, you could have chosen any card, correct? They say yes. And now I'm going to put that card back in the deck. And that deck back in the box. Now, as you can see, this deck has been here in full view the entire time. And it's a normal deck of cards. Now, I'm going to deal the cards face up on the table. You said 13, correct? And I'm going to deal 13 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. The 4 of clubs. That's pretty cool. That's ACAAN by Tejinaya Japan and Syouma Magic. Let's get right into the review. I hope you all enjoyed that performance. Remember, this will be an honest Magic review, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. And first off, I'd like to let all Magic distributors or creators know, if you'd like me to review your product, please contact me at bffmail@gmail.com. I also do free Magic monthly giveaways, and all you have to do to be eligible is hit that subscribe button. Now, let's get right into the review of ACAAN. What do you get when you purchase ACAAN? You will get this red box with a cartoon animation on the front, and on the bottom it will say the name of the creator, one of the creators, Tejinaya Japan. On the back of the box it says ACAAN, and inside the box you will receive a full deck of specially printed cards. I don't even know what back design this is, but it's a red back design. You will also get a 52 on 1 card to help you with that gag at the start, and you will get a card with the stack order that you will need to put your own deck of cards in. But we'll get back to that in a little bit. In addition, you will get a scannable QR code to your tutorial, which is, I believe, 13 minutes long. What is the quality of the gimmick? The printing of the deck of cards is not that bad. It's almost like bicycle finish, but it's not exactly bicycle finish. The faces of the deck are not all too custom, other than the Joker, I think, and the Ace of Spades. One very minor quibble I had with this is that the Ace looks different on the 52 on 1 card. If you pay attention closely, you'll see. But I highly, highly, highly doubt anyone would ever notice the difference. The deck itself should not wear out for a very long time because there's no RNS, there's no LNS, there's not really even any moving parts. It's just a specially printed deck. In addition, you'll need to provide your own deck of cards. I like to use bicycle cards, but you can really use any cards. And you will have to stack them in the order required for this effect, which should not take too long. It's a one-time setup. However, I don't really like the stacking system used, but we'll get back to that a little later. We'll circle back to that later. But first, I had another point to make. I don't, again, know what the back design of the cards are, but it is a little bit obscure. So this may raise some suspicions to the audience that it is a gimmicked deck of cards. And the deck's not examinable, so you can't really disprove that theory. Don't get me wrong, I like the back design, but it just looks a little off. I believe Syouma teaches you how to make this deck look like a regular bicycle deck, but I wish they would have just done that for me. Now, the thing is, the cards, as I mentioned, are specially printed, and the gimmick that you have to use is a little bit hard to see, so you may have to concentrate on the gimmick for quite some time. I can see it because I believe I have good vision, but I brought this to my local IBM ring, asked some magicians, and they actually had a little bit of a hard time seeing the gimmick itself. The thing is, I don't know why the creators of the effect are listed in the big letters of the box. Obviously, it's for the marketing and it's to add the name of the effect, but I wish they would have had it in smaller text or had a hard shell box like Penguin Magic does. They have a hard shell box with the name and creator, and inside you will get the box of cards, and it looks normal generally. So that's just another minor quibble. In addition, ACAAN is said on the back of the box. Any card at any number is what ACAAN stands for, if you don't know. And I know a lot of magicians who actually tell their audience what ACAAN stands for. So the fact that ACAAN is on the back of the box might make your audience skeptical that this is a special deck used for ACAAN, which it is. And also, the deck isn't really in play much other than to have them name a card, which doesn't really make sense, because if the deck's in play at all, why even have them name a card? Why not have them take out a card? In the tutorial, a card is just named, but it would have been better, I feel, if they would take out a card. Additionally, many audience members won't know why the deck is in use. They're going to wonder why because in the tutorial, they tell you to write the number they named from 1 to 52 on a blank face playing card. So why couldn't you write the number from 1 to 52 as well as their card on the blank face playing card? Why do you have to write their number on the card and take out their card from the deck? It just doesn't make sense from the audience point of view. It's necessary for the method, but the audience, I don't think, really understands why this is even in play, other than the fact it's gimmick. They just name a card, though. And that's one issue I have with the effect. I think it would have been more understandable if they actually could just take out a card, which they can. But I wish in the tutorial they would have mentioned have your spectator slide out a card and then have them name a card, rather than have them name a card and have them name a number. Because if they're not naming a card, why would you have to take it out if they're just saying the card out loud? It would make more sense if they actually took it out. That way the deck has more purpose. Also, the jokers aren't really even necessary for the effect, so I wish they would have just added some bicycle jokers instead. But enough about the quality. How is the tutorial? The tutorial is only 13 minutes long. It's in Japanese with English subtitles. They'll teach you everything you need to know, but you'll have to read the subtitles. The tutorial's alright. You can see clearly, the audio's alright if you understand Japanese, and it teaches you how to make the deck look like a bicycle deck, but you'll have to supply your own jokers, and you'll have to do a little bit of arts and craft, which is just a little bit annoying, because I feel like they could have just added their own bicycle jokers. Even if they charged a couple bucks extra, I wouldn't have minded, because with this, you have to actually glue a couple cards together, and I'm currently out of glue, so I can't really do that. But if you change the back design, as I said, there is just a small amount of arts and crafts. It's not too bothersome, but again, I really wish they could have done that for me. Now, what are the angles like with this? The angles are all right, but you won't want people behind you, because when you're looking at their card, if people are behind you, they will see the method of the effect. So the angles are about 180 degrees. Are there any live performances in the tutorial? No, there are no live performances in the tutorial. Syouma does perform the effect, but likely on one of his family members. I wish there would have been some live performances, because that would show that the creator of the product has confidence in their release. However, I don't know if this really would work in the real world, as the cutting of the deck, which is required, as you probably saw in the performance, you have to cut the deck at a certain point. I'm sure with proper misdirection it might work, but it would have been much better if they just taught you how to do a pass, or use AACAAN's version of the effect. He uses a very clean method to do what you need to do the secret move when you're taking the cards out of the box, which we will again touch on a little later. And cutting the deck, I feel, is extremely obvious to lay people, and it is required for the effect to work. However, again, if you add some comedy at the moment you're cutting the deck, I guess they might not see it, but they might. Is this examinable? The deck you have to use and have them name a card in this deck is absolutely not examinable. You can show all the faces of the cards, but you cannot show all the backs of the cards, or you will show the special printing. The deck you have to provide, however, is examinable. The 52 on 1 card is examinable. And everything else is examinable when it comes to the deck you provide, because it's just in a stack. You won't want them to mix it, but they can handle it freely. They can check that all the cards are different. I would not recommend doing that, though, because in my opinion, the stack is a little bit obvious. The stack, I wish they could have used mnemonics, because that is, in my opinion, it's a stack by Juan Tamariz, and in my opinion, it's one of the best stacks ever created. But this ACAAN, the stack is a little bit obvious, in my opinion. I'll show you some of the cards. This is the stacked deck, and in my opinion, I performed this on 3 people. 2 of them were magicians and 1 was a layperson. Neither of the magicians, when I was dealing the cards face up, neither of them caught on to that it was a stack. However, that one layperson said, hey, those cards look like they're in a certain order. Could you mix that deck up? And I was like, shoot, I can't, because then you're ruining the stack. So I wish they could have used a better stack. Now, let's talk about the difficulty and practicality of the effect. How difficult is this ACAAN? This ACAAN is actually very easy. That's where it shines. All you have to do is cut a deck of cards, but it's worth the practice to do any other ACAAN, in my opinion, especially AACAAN by ACAAN. It's, in my opinion, the best ACAAN of all time because it uses a mnemonic stack. It does require you to have the mem deck in your head, but once you have it, it's really easy to perform. It's a staple in my walk-around set. But I even have an ACAAN tutorial that doesn't require sleight of hand. It's called Pocket ACAAN. Check that out after this review. In my opinion, there's just so many free tutorials of ACAANs on YouTube. It's worth putting in the practice to just learn a pass or learn a call or do something like that. I mean, even though, sure, it's not as easy as this is, it really is worth it, because with this, sure, it's easy, but it's not that practical because you have to carry 2 decks around. You have to be cutting the deck in front of your audience to their card, which basically telegraphs the method. And I don't know. This isn't very practical, and I'm fine with you doing 2 deck tricks, but the ACAAN deck serves no purpose to the audience. It's required for the method, but the audience doesn't even know why you're just pulling out this obscure deck of cards to take out the card they named. It's essential for the deck or the effect to work, but it doesn't seem to have a purpose to the audience. There's just so many better ACAANs. Is there any DIY with this? Yes, if you want to change the back design of this deck to a bicycle deck, you will have to glue a couple of your own cards to one of the ACAAN cards, and you will have to supply your own jokers. What is the pocket space like with this? It does take up a lot of pocket space. You need to carry around 2 decks of cards that can't do any other tricks. And I always carry around a mnemonic stack deck, a 1 gimmicked deck, and 1 ungimmicked deck. I think that works the best. But with this, you have to carry around 2 decks, and it would be fine. It would be at least a lot better if the stack deck was in mnemonica or something, because that means I can do a ton more tricks with it. But it's just in this weird stacking system. I really wish they made this into a mnemonica deck, or made the cards into another popular stack like Aronson or something like that. What is the reset like with this? The good thing about this effect is that it has an instant reset. However, only if you deal the cards face up, which I wouldn't want to do if you were performing this effect, because it's very likely they'll see a stack. In fact, even in the trailer, they deal the cards face down, likely because they don't want everyone to see the stack. But if you're dealing the cards face down, the reset is it'll take a whole lot longer because you have to reverse count all the cards. And I think that takes away a lot of the practicality. And to be honest, it would work in a lot of different venues if you wanted to perform it. It would work in walk-around, close-up stage. But I just think there's so many better versions of this. Now, let's see if the trailer and ad copy are honest. I watched the trailer, and it's It's cutting out a very important part of the performance. It's missing the moment that the magician has to cut the deck before dealing it into your spectator's hand. And I think that's very crucial for them to show the full performance. It skips right from opening this deck of cards, the stacked deck, to right into dealing into the spectator's hand. Furthermore, in the trailer, the spectator names their card after the gimmicked deck was put away, which you can never do in a full performance unless you memorized this stack, which I guess is possible, but I wouldn't want to memorize any other stack than I have Mnemonica and Aronson. I wouldn't want to memorize a third stack. Now the ad copy. The ad copy states, any card. We've devised a great system that allows you to easily memorize any numbers without having to memorize them. The audience is free to say cards and numbers that you can guess completely easily. Effect. Have two audience members cooperate, or even one. Give the audience a set of playing cards of prophecy. Ask the other audience to say their favorite number and mark, and the other audience member is free to say their favorite number between 1 and 52. And when you look at the prophecy playing cards, you can flip through as many numbers as the audience has chosen, and there is a card with the number and mark chosen by the other spectator. It's very strange. It includes ACAAN deck online instruction. Please note, prepare a set of ordinary playing cards separately. Well, that's the ad copy. I think it's relatively honest. It's honest enough. Some parts I didn't really understand, like there's a marked card or something with that number. But other than that, it's pretty honest. Now, what is the price of this? The price of this effect is $28 US. Is this worth it? I think it's all right. I would never perform it, but I'd suggest saving your money and buying something like the Quantum Deck by Craig Petty, or if you want to devote more time, buy ACAAN's AACAAN. Those are both so much better than this. What are the pros and cons with ACAAN? The pros are that it's easy and it takes no skill, and I guess that there's no reset. The cons are that it's gimmicked. There are so many better ACAANs. The trailer cut some parts out. This is not examinable. And the ace discrepancy, which is not that bad. I'm sure no one would ever notice it. But I really don't understand why you have to carry around two decks of cards to do this. If both decks to your audience were really normal, why would you only use a deck of cards to have them name a card and then a blank card to write on it? It just doesn't really make sense, because for the number you write it on the blank card, and the card you take it out even though they just name a card. To be honest, decks by Lloyd Barnes can accomplish a very, very similar effect, because you can literally have them think of the card up until the point they deal all the cards, have them name it, palm it in your hand, and just load it on top. And it's another very easy, low sleight of hand variation of ACAAN. I just don't get why you have to carry two decks of cards. And why do you have to cut the deck? It just telegraphs the method to the audience. Also, why is it that the deck of cards comes with the obscure back design? I like the back design, but why couldn't they just have used bicycle as cover cards so that it looks like a bicycle deck of cards rather than telling you to glue cards together? It just doesn't really make sense. I definitely recommend checking out other ACAANs on Google or on YouTube. If you're looking to find a gimmicked ACAAN, definitely get Craig Petty's Quantum Deck or something like that. But it's up to you what you get or what you spend your hard-earned money on. It's just me who's trying to help you out with that. Now, what percent do I give this effect? To be honest, I'm giving ACAAN by Syouma and Tejinaya a 65%. There are just so many better ACAANs. There are a lot of issues with this that I think could have easily been solved. The method itself is quite clever, actually, but the execution wasn't really that great. And I just don't get why you'd have to use two decks of cards. If in an ideal world you would do an ACAAN, you would not have a second deck of cards. You might, but only if it really adds to the effect. But I hope you all enjoyed this magic review. I hope I either helped you decide to purchase this effect or I helped you save some money. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.